All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mind the Mental Monday. We have had, well, I'm not gonna say we, but I have had a crazy week, but I am so very happy. Um, as you know, I am doing a new series on this on our way leaving 2025. Can y'all believe that it's almost 2026 already? I just can't even believe it. But I am doing a series on just changing some habits, getting ourselves mentally prepared for the new year. And so I'm very excited about the episode tonight. So last week we talked about what we are not about to take into 2026. And I asked y'all, I gave y'all, y'all had one job. I said, put in the comments what y'all not gonna do, what you're not taking into 2026, and y'all ain't do it. So can y'all do that, please? Do it now. What are you not about to take into 2026? Um, I was working with my therapist earlier and I was trying to figure out, what am I not? It could be what you're not taking into 2026, but it also could be what you plan to take into 2026, like what you plan to do. What are you going to enhance upon in 2026? Whatever the case may be, we want to go up in 2026. All right. And no matter what it looks like, no matter what the government is doing, no matter what is happening in our culture, whatever the case might be, you be determined that you are going to go up in 2026. And in order to go up, there's some habits, old or new, that we might need to change, that we might need to get rid of and add on some new, better habits. And so that's kind of what we're talking about in this series of interrupted old patterns. And so, oh, good. Joy says she is not taking worry into 2026. I like that, Joy. Because what does worrying do? It just gives you anxiety and heart palpitations and all that kind of stuff. Um, very good. So we're going to interrupt some old patterns. One of the things that I've talked about, especially when we're dealing with coming up on holiday seasons, there's a lot that happens with people, with us mentally around the holidays. One of the things that we talk about often is like if we've lost loved ones and if we are, missing our loved ones, as the holiday seasons are coming up, that is something that weighs on us mentally. But another really big thing that weighs on us coming up on the holiday season is is the way we spend money and feeling like we don't have enough money to buy the lavish gifts that we might want to buy for our loved ones. And what comes with that, when we're in a season where we're not really able to do the things that we would really like to do financially in terms of purchasing nice gifts for our loved ones, is it weighs on us. We get depressed. We start feeling less than. We start feeling bad because, and especially if your loved one gives you something and you're not able to reciprocate, that can make you feel a kind of way. It can make you feel less than, like you're just not worthy of whatever the gift is that they might be giving you. And often, I know that in my family, I feel like, or like among my siblings, I feel like a lot of times we might go out to eat and one of my siblings will pick up the tab for everybody. And sometimes I'm like, man, I want to be that sometimes. And it's just, I just can't do it a lot of time for most of the time. But one of the things that my sister in particular always reminds me of is that sometimes, and also some of my friends, is that they'll say sometimes your gift doesn't come in giving money. Sometimes it's in the time you give. It's in the time you give listening, the time you give caring about what I'm going through, the discussions that we have, and the way that you help me think differently, and those kinds of things matter as well. And so, and people aren't paying you for that. And so in order to pay you for that, sometimes this is how we do it. There are different ways of being able to express yourself other than spending money that you really don't have. Being disciplined with your money and not living beyond your means. And so tonight we're going to be talking about interrupting old patterns. We're going to talk about thinking differently about your finances. And I am happy to once again have my baby girl joining me today, Kayla Weathers, who and I don't know. I don't know. I'm a post. I want to post something later, but I didn't get her permission yet to post, your movie premiere stuff. I don't
You
know
can
if I can
post
post
that.
that. All
Post.
right. But so one fun fact about her, it's not really a fun, well, yeah, it is a fun fact, is that she's recently started working as like a production assistant on some movie projects. And so one of the movie
Now production
projects,
coordinator.
and now production coordinator, which is two steps up. But there is a movie coming out on Christmas Day. What's the name of the movie, Kay?
A Soulful Christmas.
A Soulful Christmas coming
Yes.
out on Christmas Day on BET Plus, and you will see her name in the credits. And so she just went to the movie premiere last week. So I'm so proud of the work she's doing. And then, they keep asking her to do more projects. So we're going to keep staying prayerful, that that's just going to keep going, and she's going to keep going up and up and up and up. Um, but Kayla has developed a book that I've been talking about called the Boss Budget Book. I got that right, right?
Mhm.
Um, and you know, we are all everybody is a boss because you are the boss of you. You are the boss of your life. You are the boss of your finances and how you handle them. So even if whether you are, over the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or if you have a small, corner bakery, or, if you just have you are the boss of you, and it's an imperative that we take the time to really think about our finances and how we're to be good stewards over whatever finances we bring in. And so Kayla has developed this boss budget book, which is a wonderful tool to help you to track, to not only create a budget, but also to track your spending right on your phone, as you're going throughout your day. And I know if you're like me, tracking my spending is something that's really hard. I try to remember to go back and look at my statements and, really carefully look at what I'm spending, but that doesn't always happen. But having the boss budget book like right on the phone and right in real time, being able to just put in what you spent helps you to really take accountability on a daily basis for how you're spending, and then being able to sort of reevaluate on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis, or however you so choose, um, how you're stewarding your finances. Did you really need 5 cups of Starbucks coffee, throughout the week? Or could you have just maybe treated yourself to one because you're treating yourself because you did really well, man, holding off on spending unnecessarily. So we're going to get into the Boss Budget book, but before we get into the Boss Budget book, I want to just talk to you a little bit, Kayla, about how you got to the Boss Budget book, because you didn't just jump up and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna create a Boss Budget book." You created it because you went through some things. And so I really want you to sort of just share with those who are listening just your experience. Now, understand that Kayla is a young woman. She just turned 25 back in September. And so she is, kind of, how it is when you're in your 20s, you're kind of new to adulting and you trying to just figure it out. And even though she is 25, and young people can really benefit from this conversation that we're about to have, but if you're 50 something like me, I'm gonna be 57 on the Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I see Sunday, I'll be 57. And so I'm grateful for the years that God has given me, but I still got a lot to learn. And this tool can help anybody in any age group to really get a handle on their finances. So, um, we're going to talk a little bit about financial patterns, and some of the patterns that we have in our finances are things like overspending. What does that have to do with mind and mental? Because very often when we get depressed, when we find ourselves down, one of the things that we might do is just go out and like, oh, I'm just going to go out and buy myself something to make myself feel better. And you start buying things, and then when the bill comes in, you right back in a slump, right? Avoiding your bills or bank statements, avoiding that task of however often you do it, going back through your bank statements to make sure to look at how you're spending. Um, Relying on credit for emergencies. A lot of times we don't rely on, we don't take the time to try to build up an emergency fund, right? And so when emergency happens, we got to whip out the credit card. Or sometimes when it's not an emergency, we whip out the credit card. Um, Associating money with shame, fear, or scarcity. All of those kinds of things come about as a result of our relationship to money. And we first gather our relationship to money in when we're growing up. We look at how our parents spend. When I was growing up, um, you know, I, my parents used to like let me give me like their old checks, and I used to pretend I was writing checks. um, but I didn't have any knowledge about what the check was about. I just knew it was something about money, but I didn't really know what. Like, I didn't know how much they made. I didn't know about the bills that were going out. All I knew was I'm taken care of. I eat, I got clothes, I have a roof over my head. I wasn't thinking about finances, and nor was I really being taught. And I feel like as a result of that, I kind of didn't do that with my kids either, like really teach them about finances and the fact that I'm not just going to a machine and pulling out money. Like I have to put money in it, and in order to get that money, I got to work um, and earn a paycheck to put the money so that it can come out the machine, right? So when you think about your own financial journey, as young as you are, you've had Kayla. Another thing about Kayla has been an entrepreneur. She started her first business when she was like in the fourth or fifth grade. And it was, designing phone cases. This was before phone cases came about. And she would make designs on phone cases and people would pay her for it. Then she had another one. She had made her own website and everything where she would get old clothes and, cut jeans into shorts and paint them and paint pictures on things. And people would pay her to do that, to repurpose their clothing. She had her first job at the age of 14. What was that? Was that Kmart? Which one?
No,
What's
that
the
was Tracy's, the soul food
Tracy's?
cafe.
That's right, the soul food restaurant. And she
Well,
has
we really want
been,
to be technical. My first job was when I was like 7, because I used to do full bulletins for dad during the summertime when I used to have to go to
oh,
church with him.
yes.
And dad used to like pay me a little money for doing that. But that was like when I was 7 and like he did that, that was like my first thing of like, oh, I like getting paid my own money. So I feel like that's kind of like what jump started everything. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad you did because it's given a little background of you and finances. And really going back even before that, I always talk to Kayla about this. She is the only like 3-year-old that I knew who's like to collect wallets. Where if we went on a trip or something, we'd always let them get some kind of a souvenir for wherever we went. And most kids, most 3-year-olds would want, some kind of little toy or something like that. Kayla always wanted a wallet. She just started collecting wallets at 3. So right then I was like, I think this one she gonna be a money maker at some point in life. So that gives you a good sort of background of who we're talking to here today. So when you think about your own financial strategy, Kayla, what are some old patterns that you notice sort of showing up repeatedly for you?
I would say when I think about like my own financial journey, old patterns, I feel like that would come up a lot for me. And I feel like, Mom, you could relate to this. Is like just being a people pleaser. Like,
Mm,
I just never wanted people to feel like left out, or I always want to give, like, I just like making people feel good. So I used to like overspend or spend my last on like birthdays or outings, or like feeling embarrassed if I didn't have it, and like not being able to say like, "Hey, I don't have it," and spending anyway, even though I know I didn't have it, just because I felt like embarrassed by it. So
hmm
I think it was like a mix of people pleasing and just not being able to like feel comfortable saying no is what like came up a lot in my financial habits. And I think once I got to a place where, of course, like I was like adulting for real and I'm like paying my own bills. I was, I moved out. I mean, I started living by myself at the age of 19, going on 20. So once I started paying my own bills and things like that, that's when I really started to notice like, okay, something got to give. I can't go on with these same like financial habits that I was.
I think that's, it's really important. The people pleasing part really is important because yeah, you want to, and the embarrassment that comes up when somebody says, hey, you're with a group of friends and it's like, hey, let's all go to, whatever, some kind of a restaurant or whatever. And everybody's like, yeah, yeah, let's go. And you know that you don't have it. Like you don't have anything. And rather than to say, I don't have it today, or not even to say that, but just to say, well, I'm just gonna pass on it this time. I'll catch y'all, another time. It's like you feel compelled to just use, credit cards or something like that, and then you find yourself in crazy debt. I remember one of the things that they used to do, they still do this, I think, on college campuses. The credit card companies used to be on college campuses. And when I was in college, the credit card company was there. You filling out your little application. And I had the nerve to put on the application that I don't know, I think I said something like my parents send me $200 a month. That wasn't true. I said saying that to get the credit card. I got the credit card. It was a Discover card. I will never forget this because what I discovered was that yeah, that it's a racket, right? And I remember going shopping with a girlfriend and she was buying all this stuff. I decided I'm going to buy a $200 bracelet, which I don't even know where that bracelet is today. It was a gold, 14 karat gold, like rope bracelet. The rope bracelets were the style back then. And put $200 on my credit card for this bracelet that I don't know where it is now. So these are the kinds of things that happen. So when you notice that you were doing the people pleasing and that sort of thing, what was your mindset back then? And what steps were you taking to, when did you get to a place where you felt like, okay, something's got to give? How long did that kind of thing go on?
um, I would say I kind of once I moved out and I started paying my own bills, that's when it like snapped for me that I was like, okay,
Hmm
something has to give. I think the first thing was a mindset shift, which is important because your finances a lot of people don't know, and I like encourage everyone to buy the book or read the book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind,
Mm,
because that is the first thing I read, alongside of other books. So the first thing was like the major shift. I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but the major shift like was, yes, when I moved out, but it was really like COVID when I had time to just kind of like settle, and that's when I started like my financial literacy journey. So I read like all the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think or Grow Rich, Intelligent Investor. I didn't fully finish that one, but I just started building up just financial literacy, or watching YouTube videos and like taking notes and things like that. But I noticed with that is like, okay, like once I read the book, I really didn't know how to like apply it in real life. Like it was just
mm,
like, okay, I read the book, I took notes, but then after that, it's like, I don't know, I still don't know what to do. So I knew I needed to just create something tangible that
hmm.
can help me like that can help me track everything. um, yeah, I don't want to get, if you have another question, I don't want to get too much
No, no,
into it.
no, go. No, I want you to.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
Yeah, so then from there, yeah, so then from there, I did as what really brought me to the budget book was one, also just getting tired of waiting on people, because I asked other people like some, and they like, it was no malicious intent behind it, but was asking other people like, hey, like that I knew already was budgeting and things like that, like, hey, can you send me your budget, can I see like how you set your budget up and things like that. And like I just got tired of trying to follow up with them, or it seemed like they just took too long to like send it over. And then um my former boss, who is just Jesus, my former very I dealt with a very, very toxic boss. Um because I wasn't getting paid enough, I was telling her like, hey, like trying to explain like my financial predicament, my bills versus what they're paying me, and like the workload that they expected me to carry on. And she caught herself making me a budget. And if I was like smart back then, I wouldn't, because she literally was like, um, basically like, tell me how much you're like, how much are you spending on rent, like just asking me a whole bunch of my like spending patterns to try to say like, try to tell me that I was living outside of my means. And even when she did the budget, so at the time I was getting paid on the first, and then I was getting paid on the 15th. She combined the first and the 15th together, and then made a budget off of that, and like tried to present it like, see, you do have enough. And I'm like, yeah, if I was getting paid that amount on the first, you're not
hmm,
doing it like I'm getting paid on the first and I'm getting paid on the 15th. So I
hmm,
had to create a system that worked for how I was getting paid, you know? So
hmm, hmm.
yeah, so that's what brought me to like the budget book. I was tired of waiting on people, and I was tired of people kind of telling me, or not people, but that person trying to tell me what was my means and what was not. So I took control myself, basically.
Mm. All right. So, um, what what advice would you have for um people that are, especially like younger people that might be new to budgeting? Really, it doesn't have to be young people. Let me not even put that, because I think there are a lot of people, like I said before, who are, are my age and older, who never really fully got a grasp on their finances. But like, what advice do you have for people that are in a space of, I'm trying to figure it out and it just is not, it's not really clicking? Like, what would you suggest?
One, you need to start with your mindset. So if you feel like you're not making enough, but you want to be here, or if you feel like, okay, if you're always saying, I don't have this, I don't have it like that, I'm too, I don't have this in my account, that's all you're going to attract. That's why it's important to read
Mm,
The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's false and what's true. So
right.
if you keep feeding your subconscious mind that you don't have it like that, you're always not going to have it like that. So, one is like shifting your mindset. Instead of you saying, like, hey, I'm not making enough, it needs to be, what's my plan to make more? Instead of it being like, well, I can't pay this, it needs to be, what's my plan so that I can be able to pay for it. So one is changing your mindset and it's changing your language. And then from there is literally putting pen to paper. If you're just working from out of your mind, you're always going to be stressed and you're never going to know like the route to go. So if you feel like you're not making enough and like I said, you're just always in your head and you're thinking like, oh, I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that. Like you're never going to get a tangible plan because you're not seeing it. Like you need to see it. So you need to write down how much you're making, like how much you want to make. You could even set up two columns, like your reality column and then your dream column, and
Mm,
and compare. So this
I
is what
like
you're
that.
making right now, and this is what you're gonna make. This is like what your spending habits are right now, and then this is how you want to sit, how you want to spend. So you can like see it side by side and then make an actionable plan based off of that. And don't rely on yourself. If you know you don't have the financial literacy, or if you know you don't know everything, reach out to someone with those type of with that skill set so that they could be able to teach you and pour into you. Like I my mom introduced me to Miss Gwen Franklin, who's a financial advisor. That's why I lean on for my financial advice because I don't know it myself. So definitely, really everyone should have this, but definitely if you're young figuring out your finances, definitely get a financial advisor, invest in a financial advisor so you have someone. It's like a financial advisor is like a therapist for your finances. They give you just clear and actionable plan for you to execute your finances. And it's not even just with budgeting. When it comes to your investment portfolio, when it comes to stocks and things like that, your financial advisor will tell you, like, advise you on the best route to go. And then always, I should have brought this up first. If you're a person of faith and you're a person of God and you feel like you're struggling with your finances, but you're not paying tithes, that is a reason why you're struggling with your finances. Tithes is not an option, it's a command from God. Like that's something that we have to obey. And I'm not saying this to like knock anyone down that's like that is not paying tithes, but because I understand, like, if you get into that, like, if you have a mindset of like, oh, well, if I pay my tithes, I'm not going to have enough left for anything. But if you're a person of God, that's where faith comes in, because that is showing God, when you pay tithes, you're showing God that you know that He is your source, not whatever employer, whatever job, whatever project. That's
Mhm.
not your source. God is your source. So even if you're struggling, that's something I learned too, was um me struggling with my finances so much is because, okay, well, who am I looking at as my source, and who am I looking at as my focus, and what am I giving my money to? And then God's not giving none of it, but He's the reason for all of it. So, and I just went on a whole tangent, but
No, you went on a great tangent because, um, it is important to understand that as you in our Christian faith, from a biblical perspective, the way we would say it is that life and death lies in the power of the tongues. As a person speaks, so are they, right? And so when you speak that over yourself, and I'm guilty of it myself, like I will say a lot. I hear myself saying, I don't have it like that. Or I'll say, well, I don't have it like that, but whatever the case might be. And when we speak that over ourselves, that is what ends up happening. And so changing your language about yourself, as in everything, is the key. That is where you start. So all of what you said was really rich, pun intended. um, really rich for people to hear, because a lot of times we just think it's tongue in cheek. We just think when we say things like I don't have it like that, it's almost like a habit, right? And so we don't really take it as this is what we're actually speaking over ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's so important to understand how we speak over and to ourselves. So the question that Minister Ebony asked is, why do you think we repeat old bad behavior patterns when it comes to our finances? And I think that it's just like anything else. A habit is something that you have practiced over time. And if you have spent a long period of time doing the same kinds of things, it can be hard. Even when you start to change, you can find yourself looping back. And our brain likes to do things easily, right? And so when we do things in a repetitive way, it's because we've already trained our brain to do it. And so our brain, the natural inclination for our brain is to fall back into whatever is simple. Um, even I'll use a pregnancy example. When a woman gets pregnant and has a child, and then they get pregnant again, the body remembers being pregnant the first time and just goes back to pregnancy mode. Like you start to show quicker and things start to happen quicker and that sort of thing. It's just the way that our brain is trained, but we have to understand that we can retrain our brain. It takes effort, it takes work, it takes discipline, it takes consistency. Um, but once you are consistent in that new pattern over time, consistently every day over a month, it becomes a habit. Back in September, I completely cut out. I've said this before, but like I completely cut out eating like chips and pretzels and stuff like that. Fast forward to, but 3 months later, like I don't even crave them anymore. I don't even miss it. I don't miss it at all because I've created a new pattern in my brain that, when I feel like I want something a little lightly salty or whatever, I'm gonna do a few pistachios, and I'm good. I've just retrained my brain. Um, so Minister Ebony also says saying you do not have it does not always feel good. So for some, it's easy to use plastic instead of being upfront with others. Right. Yeah, it's because it's hard for us to be vulnerable sometimes about our finances. And especially when we might be in a friend group or something that seems to not have the same financial concerns that we might have, but we don't really know their concerns either. We don't know what they really have. They might be whipping out plastic too and, and engaging in those behaviors too. So we have to set ourselves aside and think about, what does this mean for me and my budget? And the first time you are honest, when you become honest with yourself, and that first time you're honest with your friends to say, listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I am doing something new on my financial journey that doesn't encompass this activity. So you changing the language of, instead of saying I don't have it like that right now, you're saying I'm doing something new. I am focusing my finances in a new direction, or something like that. What are your thoughts about that, Kay?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes it's even not just like you don't want to feel embarrassed. Like I know, well, I guess it all falls into the same category, but I think for me too, it's like not want to feel like a charity case because I know like my friends, if I say I don't have it like that, is oh girl, like I don't care, like I'm not worried. I didn't ask you that. Do you want to go? And like I'll take care of it. But even that sometimes doesn't feel good to me because it's like I appreciate you, but I don't want to feel like a charity case, or especially if you're a type of person that's used to being the one to be able to like take care of it, and now it's like you're kind of in a predicament where you can't, um, yeah, it could just not be a good feeling. But I think like something I had to learn was just having courage and humility, and being okay
Mhm.
with being in humility. And I don't know the exact scripture, but even God says in the Bible, don't take me word for word, but even God says that he exalts the people who stay in humility.
Mhm.
So it's important to be honest with yourself, to be honest with the people around you, and if they can't respect your boundaries, then they're just not supposed to be in your circle.
Amen. All right. Well, let's get into this boss budget book, because I'm so excited, that you developed this tool that you found helpful to yourself, and that you decided to create it and share it, with everybody else, that in hopes that they will too will benefit from it. So let's talk about that, about your boss budget book tool. How did you talked a little bit about it at the beginning, but like, what made you create it? Were there other tools that you tried to use? And you said that earlier, that
Mhm.
they weren't working for you, but what made you get to that point of, I'm going to create this budget book?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it really didn't take me that long at all because I've always been the type of person where which I feel like I've gotten a lot better at. But if you don't move, like if I ask you to do something and you don't do it right then and there, like you're not moving on my time, forget about it. Like don't even worry about it. So it was just I got to a place where I was asking people for their budget templates,
Right.
and they were taking too long to send me it. So that was when I was like, okay, well, I'll make it myself. And then two, when I was looking around at budget templates, it was budgets that you had to like update yourself or like do the math. And that's just like, well, I'm already not really a big math person, and I already know my mind. I don't feel like physically having to like write everything down. So I literally said, I'm gonna create my own budget book that's gonna track my spending and do the math itself. And I literally, when I said that, I literally created it that day. Like I spent
Mhm.
maybe a couple hours on my laptop watching YouTube videos. I taught myself coding a little bit so I could be able to put in the functions I wanted to put in. And then I put in everything that I felt was missing from other budget books. And originally I had set it up to where it would help me with how I needed it the best. But once I kind of started showing like you, mom, like my family, and like some of my close friends, because originally I was just like, oh, I just made this budget book for myself. Let me know if you like if y'all want it, and like I was just like sending it out to like my friends and family, and then when they started like looking at it, they was like, Kayla, you need to like sell this. Like this is like an actual product. So I made it in like 2020, 2021, but this is honestly the first year where I'm like actually like promoting it. So beforehand, it was kind of like more so if you know, you know, or I just promoted it one time in November once the new year was about to begin. But
Mhm.
this year, I'm being a little bit more intentional about, pushing it out and yeah, pushing it out and promoting it. Because I think for me, I would get like a little discouraged as well, even though I'm so thankful for the support that I've got so far. I also felt like a lot of people weren't supporting it. So I kind of had thoughts of like, well, maybe it's just like not that great, but I had to get over that. And so now I'm just like, pushing out more. But long story short, really short story long, that is how I I created the budget book. And I thought that like yeah, I didn't really see anything where you could just like literally do it on the go and it just be like simple and easy. So I just, yeah, I want to create that type of system.
Okay. Well, why don't you kind of take us through it?
Okay.
Uh,
I'm
let's
about
see
to
how
get
it works.
mine. Okay, does everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So when you first get the budget book, this is just like the welcome page, very self-explanatory, just gives you everything you need to know, how to navigate it, and just like my contact in case you have like any difficulties. Then I map out all of your income and expenses for 2026. All of the numbers that y'all see here, these are not like my real numbers. These are just an example. But for me, what this does, so if you work a full-time job, but you also have side hustles, like for me, I might work a job, but I'll do projects or sometimes I do graphics or campaigns and get side money from that. So this is just to track like everything that comes in. So what you do is, which I'll show you on the next tab, you put in your income for the month. So like say you're making like 1100 and then you put in what your expenses is. So you would insert your bills plus your like your personal expenses amount right here. And then once you kind of input everything, like I'll even do something else. Like let's just say 20 so y'all could just see the like say you got $20 from a graphic. So if y'all notice, it does the math for you. Like you do $50 for something else, two graphics. So it does the math for you. So as you see the number kind of going down because if you were like in a negative, but you have like more money coming in, then it shows you kind of you getting yourself out of the negative. But of course, the goal is to be in the positive. That's just an example. And like I said, I built this out for the entire year. The income and expenses I put all on one sheet so you can look over each month on one sheet instead of having to go to like, so that way you can compare
Hmm.
January, February, March, like you see all the numbers right there.
Hmm.
Um, and they all have the same function. Like February is going to do the same thing. Just so you can like kind of see
Hmm.
everything pop up for you. So then we go into the actual budget part. So this is January. So at the top right here, again, another example, but I'll start with the blank example. So at the top right here, like let's just make up a number. Like let's just say you're bringing in 2,500 a month. You put that there. And then if you have um a job where you're getting paid where it's not like a first and a 15 type of deal, like you might get paid three times in 1 month, or even if you get paid weekly, you can literally just copy, select. I'm not gonna do it because my phone is my computer's lagging because of we are on Zoom right now. But you can literally select this whole thing, Command C, and then like just paste it back. And all the same functions will still work and everything like that. So you don't have to just keep it to like two. I just set it up to how majority of people like get paid. Um, so yeah, I had to anyway. So yes, so then you put in all your bills. So of course, like if rent, you're paying like 1,200 in rent. And then of course you're saying like what exactly what it is. If you're paying like 175 in water, and then y'all get the point. And then personal expenses, like if you want to pay like 75 for your nails, then you input that here. Or um if you need to budget out $150 for Ubers, you put that here. Um and then tithes and offering, I made a section for that because I tithe monthly. So we just based on what the made up number I put at the top, we're just gonna go ahead and put 250 in for tithes to do that 10%. And then if you want to do savings, then let's say you want to do 150 for savings, and then 150 for vacation. So what it does is, if you see right here, it gives you each separate total. So you have the total of how much all your bills are going to be. You have the total of how much your personal expenses are going to be. You have the total of your tithes and offering. You also have the total of your savings. You also have the grand total. So this is how much your bills, your personal expenses, your tithes and offering, your savings are combined. This is how much everything is all together. And then you have your balance so that it shows you how much you're left over with after doing all of that spending. And why this is so easy is because, like, say you are on your phone and you're out and you spend $100 at dinner, you could literally whip out your phone, put in $100, put in a note for dinner, and it automatically does math for you. You don't have to worry about doing any math yourself. And then at the bottom, you get a monthly reflection so that you can, because writing things out are a form of speaking things into existence as well. So you do, you have three different goals. Maybe your goal is like, I want to spend less money. You could even get more specific. I'm going to cut down spending money so I can pay off my debt by this date. Um, yeah, so you just write out your goals for each month. And then I do also have a quarter review, perfect for really for like entrepreneurs who might have to pay like well, most entrepreneurs, you either pay taxes quarterly or you pay them yearly. So this is just a reflect on how you did for the quarter. So yeah, I just have a few questions, and of course you can always insert your own questions if you want to. All you got to do is right click and say like insert row above, and it gives you like more writing space. So did I reach my saving goals? Did I spend properly? Did I reach my income goal? Did I steward my finances well? Was I disciplined in my spending? And then all of those questions, like it's an easy check off, yes, no, right here, but you can really reflect down here with what you could do better next quarter. And also you have a space to, again, write out your goals for the next quarter. So this is built out all the way until December. And then there's a quarter review for each quarter. So yeah, that is my budget book. To go over again very quickly, you have the welcome page that gives you instructions on what to do and how to navigate through the boss budget book. Then you have your income and expenses tab that tracks all of your income and expenses for the full entire year. And then you have it built out the entire month for you to budget monthly. And I my slogan is where I make budgeting easy and on the go. So as you saw, you literally are just putting the numbers in and letting the book do the work for you. And that's the budget book.
That is awesome. I love that you um I love that you can the ease with which you can stop sharing now. I love the ease with which you can do it on the go. I love the reflection because a lot of times we don't want to look at our finances. Sometimes it's like because you just feel like you're going to be in the red and it's like you just avoid it, so
And
that's
real
a
quick too, I
hmm
actually had someone that told me that she said she loved my budget book, but she had to take a break from it because it was actually like getting discouraging to her
hmm
seeing the finances on paper. But honestly, gonna be realistic, yes, it can be discouraging, but you're never going to cross that threshold unless you see it on paper. And this is where the mindset shift comes into play because instead of looking at like, oh my goodness, I'm in the red, I'm never going to make enough, use it as motivation to say, hey, I'm not going to be in the red next month. So what do I need to add to my what do I need to add to my income? What I need to decrease from my expenses? It's not when I say mindset shift, it's still being realistic with what you have right now and like what you can spend on. but also not being stuck in a spirit of fear when it comes to money, because then you're going to end up getting the opposite of like what you're trying to get. So if you're trying to reach a certain goal point, because you have that fear attached to it, you're not going to get there. So yes, it could definitely be discouraging, kind of seeing like maybe you feel like you're not making enough, but I promise if you change your mindset to, well, what's my plan to make enough, you'll definitely see like a difference and how your finances come in.
It is all in the mindset. And even if you have challenges managing your finances, the first step to anything is being able to look at it, being able to face it, confront it. And that way you can see what you need to do. And what the Boss Budget book allows you to do is to see exactly where your funds are going. You can see where you need to and try to enhance your income or try to delete, some of the spending that might not be necessary. One of the
Also, I'm not coming from a place of like me doing this budget book. I'm not coming from a place of, hey, this is what worked for me. This is why you need to do it. I'm coming from a place of, this is currently what I'm struggling with. This is currently what I'm getting over. And this is a tool that is helping me right now get over that. And this is what I want to give to everyone else. So I never want to like present myself as like a financial expert, because I'm not that at all. I still have a lot of work to do. But I did create a tool for, and I feel like we don't have enough people that would come out and say, like, I am in the midst of this. So this is why I created this. I feel like a lot of people, they wait until they're past the threshold or they reach their goals to then want to like pour into people. But I honestly took a leap of faith and I said, God, I know that I'm not even where I want to be right now. I know it's coming. I paid you in advance for how you're working in my life, but thank you for, because I know even me, like it was a reason why people weren't, sending me their budget, So I even thank God for giving me the thought of, having that budget book and first thinking it was just going to be for me. And then through, you guys, like my family and my friends, um, gave me the courage to, put it out as like an actual digital product.
So, I mean, do you want to share a little bit of like where you are right now and where you're going?
So right now, I would say like my mindset is just like a little different right now from even how it was um beforehand. Because of course I'm not where I want to be right now, but something we have to always understand too, it's like it's always going to be more. Like once I get to like where I want to be, it's going to be a next step and I want to get there. Then it's going to be a next step of I want to get here. So I want to say like the difference is of where I'm at right now is that I praise God that I always have enough. And sometimes you have to praise him for being content. Like sometimes you have to take the focus off of what you don't have and be in that gratitude, because you might find yourself feeling like, oh, I wish I could pay for this, I wish I could pay for that, but you just got a meal. Somebody wasn't able to just get that meal. Even if you was able to get a bottle of water, there's someone who is begging someone for them to get them a bottle of water. It's the small thing. So I think it's also like praising God for having just enough, and then taking time to get a plan from him, because if you're in purpose, the paper is going to follow.
Mm.
So not even me, I know where I'm going and I know the level I want to be, but I think more so my focus is not even on the money and the finances right now, because my focus is making sure I'm aligned with God and I'm obeying him and so that he's positioning me for purpose, because that's when I know I'll get to the point that I need to be. So yeah, my focus is not even on money or how much I have, how much I don't have, or how much of course I know how much I want to make. Of course I know the lifestyle, but yeah, my main focus on is being in purpose and being like real with yourself too. Like I talk to God, and I think some people think it has to be like a one thing, like, oh, you can't be wealthy and serve God. That's not true. I tell God all the time, this I want to be a multimillionaire, billionaire. I want to create generational wealth. I want to have assets, and aside from that, even when it comes to materialistic things, being real with that too. I tell God, I want the lifestyle. I want to be able to go on vacation. I want to be able to, get clothes and keep up with my maintenance, and like drive the car I want to drive. Like I want to be able to like go out and, treat people to dinner and things like that. I want to be put in a position to where I'm paying people. Like I have my own team and I'm paying out people and I'm able to pay them a more than livable wage. But I don't want any of it if it's going to be outside of you. So please bless me with that. Like if both of our goals could be in alignment, God, then we there. So yeah, I think it's also like just not feeling like you just have to choose one. I'm gonna, because of course we don't serve two masters, right? But
Mhm.
if you're keeping God first and then the money follows, then that's not serve. And then you're being obedient once he positions, like he exhausts you to where you've been, to what you've been praying for. Then yeah, then that's my vision. That's my vision.
Yeah, with the understanding that's to whom much is given, much is required. So
Exactly.
a
And
lot of times
also
people,
what you're doing with the little right now.
exactly,
So
exactly.
it's like I think people forget too, and this is something that I learned and I'm still learning, is like I feel like we talk so much about, trusting God, trusting God, trusting God, having trust in God, putting your faith in God, but people forget that God also needs to be able to trust us.
Mm,
So if he's not,
say
if
that.
he can't trust you with the little bit that he's giving you, he's not gonna bless you in a manner that you want to. And that's not him like punishing you or him not listening to you. It's actually him protecting you, because he's like, well, if this is how you handle the little I do give you, you're not gonna steward well what you're praying for. So I just read this in a devotional today, like just how our earthly fathers, when we like, I go to my dad sometimes if it's like, well, he tells me no, um, it's not out of like malice or out of him just wanting to ignore me. It's out of love and correction. And God is the same way. If he's telling you no, it's not because he doesn't like you or he doesn't love you or he's not thinking about you. It's out of love, correction, and protection. And it's easier said than done, because sometimes I still get in mindsets and I'm just like, oh, child, I don't know what's going on. But yeah,
Amen. You preaching, Kay? It is. I mean, a lot of times you're right. I remember a long time ago, it was sort of everybody was getting the book, The Prayer of Jabez, enlarge my territory. And everybody was like, Lord, enlarge my territory. And it's like, that you ain't doing nothing with the territory you got.
exactly.
Like, what are we enlarging here? So that is so so true. So thank you for pointing all of that out. That who to whom much is given, much is required. And so there is a responsibility given with your purpose and in all of those things. I have to say, it makes my heart glad because I remember it just looking at how you have grown in a myriad of ways, but how you've grown spiritually, because I remember the days where it was more you were always, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a millionaire. Um, but it was kind of like, okay, why do you want to be a millionaire? Is it just for the sake of being a millionaire? What are you going to do with it when you, you know? And you kind of, weren't quite sure then. It was just you just knew I want to have all this money. But now you are aligning it with purpose, and that makes such a big difference, I think. Because when you do it that way, when God sees you to that level, you are going to use it for His glory. And so as a mom, it does my heart good to see just to see the growth. And I'm proud of you. I'm gonna say that. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, it's 9 o'clock. Wow, that hour has gone by really, really quickly, but I hope that you were able to gain, those of you listening were able to gain some insight and, get some good practical tools. A good tool. So Kayla, we have been sharing the link and the QR code for your tool, but tell people where they can find you and, you know, how much is your budget book and all that good stuff?
Yes, so you can on my Instagram, it's at the official boss K, just the letter K. You click the link in my bio. You can purchase my budget book there. What was the other question you asked me? Sorry.
Uh, how much is it?
Oh, and how much is it? Right now, if you get it today, it will be only $10. I extended my Cyber Monday sale. Originally, it is $15, but I do have a sale going on, so you can get it for $10, but only for if you are on this live, you get it for $10 up until tomorrow at midnight.
Is there
No
any
code
kind of,
needed.
I'm sorry.
No code needed. It will automatically be discounted for you.
All right, I was going to ask you that. Okay. So y'all heard it. If you buy it today, you have until what, midnight tomorrow?
Midnight
You have
tomorrow.
until midnight tomorrow to get it at the $10 price. So I will encourage you to do just that. Um, and before we go, I just want to leave just a few practical steps for those listening as we are planning to, for those that are really trying to change your financial mindset before going into 2026. Identify one unhelpful pattern. A pattern is those things that you do over and over again. It's the way you train your brain to think about money, to think about how you're spending, to think about how much you're making, all of those kinds of patterns. If there's a pattern that you know that you need to change around your finances, identify it. Identify what it is. Name the emotion that comes up for you in that pattern. Is it shame? Is it fear? Is it frustration? Is it avoidance? What comes up for you in that pattern? And then replace the pattern. What are you going to replace it with? Replace impulse spending with the 24-hour rule. So instead of impulsively buying something, saying, let me wait 24 hours. And if I really need this, then in 24 hours, I will go ahead and get it. But otherwise, I don't really need it. Replace avoidance with financial check-ins. Replace scarcity thinking with gratitude and planning. Some of the things that we talked about earlier. Get support if you need it. Invest in a financial advisor. They are worth the investment. Invest in the Boss Budget book. It's only $10 up until midnight tomorrow, which tomorrow is, in case you're watching this later, tomorrow is December 9th. Up until December 9th at midnight, you can get the Boss Budget book for only $10. Y'all know y'all only said, let's Kayla, if you see her little commercial, you done spent $10 at Starbucks on one cup of something. So so you can invest in something that's going to help you for the trajectory of your life. All right. All right. So thank you, Kayla. I appreciate your time and your expertise. I know you said you're not a financial expert, but you are becoming that. it just in the lessons that you're learning in your life. And all of you bosses out there, as I said earlier, you are the boss of you. You are the boss of your financial situation. And so it is up to you to change those patterns and look at your finances differently, and really take charge of your finances with discipline, consistency, and with intentionality. So thank you for tuning in on Mind the Mental Monday. I appreciate those of you who have tuned in. I will be back next week, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, and I will have journeyed around the sun another year by the time I see you next Monday at 8 p.m. And we are still going to be talking about what are some of the things that we are going to be changing as we prepare first our minds, and then everything else will follow as we go into a new year. All right. Any last parting words, Kayla?
No, just thank you so much for having me on here. I'm also so proud of you. You know, you're one of my inspirations. You're
Oh,
the woman I aspire to grow into. You're the type of mom I want to be, and I want my kids to experience. And I just love you so much, and I really appreciate
oh.
you. And thank you for always just supporting me and sharing my light. And everyone who watches and tunes in to Mind of Monday, I appreciate you guys as well for supporting my mommy.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. All right. Well, thank you again, and everybody have a wonderful week. God bless you, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Good night.